Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. My name's Jordan and I love watching movies, and then I review them by answering 3 different categories. One thing I liked about it, one thing I hated, and the one thing I would change. Today I'm reviewing the 1940s Pride and Prejudice. With that said, I hope you stocked up on your popcorn and your candy from the last video. Told you to stock up, and let's dive on in. Probably many of you have already read Pride and Prejudice, or you've seen my favorite, the Kiera Knightly version. Also, that was the only version I watched before this, but now I can say it's my favorite. So you probably have heard of the story, but I'll give a little recap of it. The story follows the Bennet family that doesn't have too much money, and they have 5 daughters. The parents are trying to marry off their daughters to some wealthier men, and lucky for them, there are a few wealthy men that happen to show up. And so the parents, well, not parents, more like the mother. The mother is trying to match make her best daughters for the wealthier man. The story focuses on Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. Sorry, that was kind of weird. But anyways, they kind of have a rocky start to begin with because while they're at a dance, Elizabeth overhears Mr. Darcy not speaking well about her own family. And also, he just has a haughtiness to him, with Elizabeth having a lot of pride in her family and herself as well. She's not the biggest fan of him, and they keep kind of mingling together. But over time, they both kind of start falling in love with each other. And there are some twists and turns that keeps the drama going the whole film. Okay, I'm just gonna preference that I've read the book. I have not read it in a while. And then I'm just gonna be honest, I'm probably going to be referring to the Kiera Knightly film a lot. I just really liked it. It's been quite a few years since I've seen it. The one thing I liked about this film was it was easy to follow. Jane Austen, she is a pretty difficult author to follow. This film made it a lot easier to follow because they made it more lighthearted, and the accents weren't super deep. They weren't also using a lot of the language that you would see in the Kiera Knightly version, where you can tell they were trying to be very poetic. So it does make the film a little bit more challenging. Versus this 1940s version, they were focusing more on getting the main plot lines out, trying to have a little bit more fun with the story. The one thing I hated about this film was the acting, especially for Mrs. Bennet, the mother. Oh my goodness, she annoyed me so much. The way Jane Austen writes is a very serious tone for a social commentary. If you're reading the book, you'd be like, whoa, people are very serious about this. You watch the film and the mother is just so over dramatic, and she's got a little bit of quirky funniness to her character. One scene that drew out the quirkiness of the mother that, again, I did not like was when she was telling Elizabeth that if Elizabeth doesn't marry Mr. Collins, then she will never see her mother again. The scene seemed to be propped up more as a comedic effect. The mother is acting kind of more like a stage drama in the situation, so she's just over dramatic to the point where it is a bit more comedic, versus the Kiera Knightly one where the mother is way more panicked about the situation and she's very serious about it. Not saying that the other one wasn't, but it felt a little bit more lighthearted. But also you have to consider that in the 1940s, the type of acting was very different compared to what you see now, which is method acting. Method acting is when the actors act from internal outward, versus the acting at that time, I think it was more natural, where it's more outward acting. The acting style was different then, and I'm critiquing that I am preferring the acting style today versus then, kind of. But at the same time, no, the mother just was annoying. The one thing I would change about this film is it seemed too American. I think what made this feel more American was it was filmed in Hollywood 1940, where everything was filmed on set, like at the studio sets. And so they probably were reusing a lot of things, reusing a lot of costumes that were probably used in other American movies. And so it kind of looked a little bit similar. The only thing that would make it not feel American is time in itself, where Hollywood now is focusing on showing more of the authentic locations. And so you've got the Kiera Knightly version where clearly they are in England. You see the sets, the costumes feel way more authentic to that time. So the one thing I would change is time, and that's probably why I prefer the Kiera Knightly version. Overall, I wasn't too pleased with the film. I gave it a 3 on Letterboxd. The reason why I gave it a 3, I could understand the story a little bit better in this one. It's been a while since I've seen the Kiera Knightly version and that I read the book. And when I did, at the time, it was hard to follow. I give the benefit of the doubt for this film that it was easier to follow the storyline. However, they made it a little too goofy for the seriousness of the story. I also hated the acting. I think if I read the novel and then I went to go see it at that time, I would probably be a little disappointed. Maybe not, because that was the style of Hollywood at that time. I definitely was disappointed now. If you like this review, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and then let me know in the comments section what you disagreed with, or maybe what you did agree with. There might be a few things we did agree with. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I do post on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and you know what? To help remind you, go click that little bell notification and it will let you know when I post. But just know those are the days I do. And I do want to let you know I am on Letterboxd, so you can go ahead and look at the description and there's my channel. Go follow it, because you do get a little sneak preview of the films that I'm going to review. Who wouldn't love a sneak preview? Until next time, stock up on that popcorn, go get that candy, so when you see that little bell notification, you are ready with your snacks. And trust me, I'm watching. I'm paying attention. I know if you're watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.